Hello and welcome to the broadcast.radio web setup tutorial video. In this video we're going to go through the steps of setting up a simple website for your radio station using the broadcast.radio web tools which are available from Broadcast Radio. So let's jump straight in, open up a web browser and type in the URL you need to go to, which is broadcast.radio. Once the URL is loaded, you'll see that you have a customer sign-in page. Now, when you first sign up for broadcast.radio, you will be sent an email with instructions on how to set a password. We'll assume that you've already done that in this stage, but if you haven't, then you need to complete that step before you would log in to the actual interface. So here we can see on the customer sign-in, I've got my email address and my password has already been saved here because I've been here before. So if I click on sign in, then that will actually take me into the main interface. If you have multiple stations set up on broadcast.radio, then you would first have to pick which station you wanted to edit, but we'll assume that this is the first or only station you're going into, in which case the first thing you'll see will actually be the dashboard screen, as you can see here. This provides a quick jump-in area for editing the most common things on your website, including the schedule, shows and programs and presenters, as well as posts such as news posts and blogs, and you can access the page builder from here as well. You can also visit your website from here, which is what we're going to do straight away, because every new broadcast.radio website comes with a simple template to demonstrate the structure and the features available to your station. And what we're going to do first is explore those features on the template, and then I'm going to show you how to edit those features to make the website your own. So first of all, let's click on the Visit Website button. Here you can see the template. First thing is we're going to be setting up a fictional station called Humber Radio here. So you can see that the URL that has been provided by broadcast.radio is humber.broadcast.radio. But if you own a specific domain, so if you owned humberradio.com, then you can set the system up, or we can set the system up rather, so that that domain will work with the website. So if you do own a domain, then let us know about it and we can set it up so that that domain will work with your website. So let's have a look at the main features of the broadcastradio.web template. The top section is what we call the launch box, and it's kind of a summary of your station that includes all the key information that visitors to your website will see first. So once it's fully configured, this will include information such as what is currently playing on your station, who the presenter is, as well as access to recently played content and whatever other information that you want. In a default template here, you can see we've got a now playing section, and access to the player so that visitors to the website can listen to your station. There's also an on-air section which will show the show or the presenter who is currently on air. You can optionally add a large logo, which you can see here with the Your Logo section. And finally, there is a menu system along the top, which can be used to access other pages on your website. Obviously, you can change the look and feel of this, change the background images, the color schemes, and what information is included in your launch box. We'll cover how to do that exactly later on, but for now, let's continue exploring the homepage for the template website. As we scroll down, we can see we've just got some simple text about our station, as well as another currently on-air section. So this is kind of a repeat of what's up here. And we've got a couple of other features here. We've got a link to the latest news articles and also some information about the presenting team. Scrolling down here, we've got a nice little graphic and a piece of text to separate another section. And we've got a simple slug of text here just explaining some of the things that you can also include in your website. And finally, we have a footer, which is on all pages as well. And on here, you can put your copyright information plus access to any other pages that you wish. So you can see here by default, we have access to the public file, the contact and the about page. So this is the home page. You can see on the menu here we also have some other pages that are included in the template, although you can add custom pages as well, so you can create anything you want to. So let's have a quick look at what else we've got. Click on About. You can see the top menu here changes because we've moved away from the home page. The launch box is no longer visible, so instead the menu moves to here and you have a smaller player. Now the crucial thing about this is as we navigate through the website here, your station will continue to play. So if a presenter is, if a visitor to your website has pressed play on the homepage and then starts to explore your website, their listening won't be interrupted as they switch between pages. Here we can see on the About page is very simple. We've just got a slug of text. As with all the pages here, we could add in other features such as pictures, videos, or anything else that we wanted to. But by default, we've got a bunch of text here. Moving on to the presenter tab here. Here we can see we've just got a couple of default presenters set up. We've got a presenter and another presenter. Each presenter page allows you to add in a picture, the name of the presenter, and some more information. So if we click on one of these presenters, we can see it takes us to the presenter page for that particular person. Similarly, going to the schedule shows us what shows we've got set up for the day. You can see here we can choose the date and it will show us the shows that we have set up. On our default template website, we only have 2 shows set up, but obviously you would have a lot more shows set up for your station. Moving on to the news section, there are 2 different types of news that you can include in broadcast.radio web. We have manual news stories, which allow you to add your own stories, which can consist of title, picture, and a slug of text. But we also allow you to link to automated news services such as Radio News Hub. Now, you would need to be a subscriber to Radio News Hub to be able to actually benefit from this feature. But if you are a subscriber, then you can set up the system to automatically ingest news stories as you go along. And so on the home page and on the news pages, it will show the latest stories automatically. We have a simple contact page, just allows you to add in the ability for visitors to your website to send you a message directly, and this would send to an email address of your choice. And of course you can add in other contact details such as phone numbers, addresses, anything else that you wish. We also have a playlist page. Now this is either something you can manually build, so you can publish playlists, or if you are using Myriad 5 Player, you can actually link the broadcast.radio website to your Myriad system via the remote edit server, so that certain categories will automatically be displayed as playlists. So say for example you run an A-list on your station, which is all the latest songs, then you could automatically publish that content so that as you change the songs in your A-list in Myriad Playout, it will actually update the website as well. So as things move out of the A-list, they will then be removed from the playlist automatically. And you can set up multiple playlists as well. So you may have different playlists for different shows or different playlists for different things, so you can publish them here. Finally, we've got a Listen Now, which will take us to a larger version of the player. So you can see I've got this set up to be a pop-up player, but it can actually be, depending on how you set up the default player inside of broadcast.radio, you can have a full-size player, full-screen players, and you can include features such as schedule, recent information, that type of thing. So it just provides a full size or an alternative way to get to the player from there. So that's about it. You can see down the bottom here as well, we've also got a public file which you can fill in the details. If you're an Ofcom licensed station, then you may need to actually publish this. You may also add in a custom page for terms and conditions or privacy statements, anything else that you need to publish. And in here on the default template, we've also got links in the footer to contact and about, but this footer can also be edited as required. And of course, like all web pages, if you click on your logo, which obviously you can replace with your logo up the top here, it will actually take you back to your home page. And in this case, you see the launch box automatically. So that's a quick tour of the features that we're going to look at setting up in this video, and what you could expect if you were setting up your own radio station website. However, of course, because you can edit all of these, it's really up to you how much or how little you want to include, and your website may well look very, very different to the template by the time you finish editing it. So let's take a look at how we would go about doing that. The first thing we're going to look at is how to configure the launch box that is located at the top of your homepage, as that is the first thing that visitors to your site will see. Let's jump back onto the broadcast.radio homepage portal, the dashboard that we started on at the beginning of this video, and we want to click on the All Settings button to access the launch box settings. Here, this takes us to our main menu where we can access most of the content and settings within the broadcast.radio platform. Should you be having other services such as mobile apps, Alexa skills, that type of thing from us, Broadcast Radio Live, etc. These are all managed through this same menu here, but today we're interested in our site layout section. And we want to go to the options first. And then you can see the theme settings section here. Now this is, we want to click on the design options button. This will open up the launch box options, as well as some other settings to do with the basic design of our website, such as colors of backgrounds and text, etc. So here you can see it's loaded up the launch box, and we have settings down the left hand side here, and we also get a real-time preview of what it might look like as well. So as we turn features on and off, we'll be able to see how that affects the launch box. Looking at the top of the screen here, the very first thing is the color scheme. Now if I click on this button here, this allows me to set the different color schemes for different things. So you can see here we've got general color schemes for main background, for main text and links, etc., as well as the header and menu colors and various other things here. So these are set by default to be black and white essentially in the template, but you of course can customize these to be whatever you need them to be within the context of your website. Next, we've got the whether or not to use the launch box. So here, if I turn this one off, you can see that basically then your website won't have a launch box. It'll have the cut down menu that we saw previously in the video on other pages. So you don't have to use the launch box if you don't wish to. Many of the settings in this section refer to the real-time information being provided by your playout system, whether that's Myriad 5, Myriad 4 or some third-party system. And so it's quite difficult to demonstrate how they affect the launch box when you aren't actually seeing real-time information, as there is no information being displayed. So in order to demonstrate that, let's take a look at a system or a website that's already been set up, another demo website. This time we're going to click on this here. And here you can see a launch box that looks a little different. You can see if we've changed the background, we've changed the color scheme, we've made some semi-transparent, the backgrounds of the different information is semi-transparent. And you can also see we've got now playing information and 3 items that have been played recently, our on-air information, our menu, and a nice logo over here. So let's take a look at the settings for this page to see how the settings would affect how it would look. So click on the Cloud Demo settings page. So this is the same page we were on a minute ago. It's just for this particular website, but because this information is being driven in real time, we'll be able to see how the changes we make affect things in the launch box in a real system that's running. So the first thing is the first option here is an option which says if there isn't enough space, the launch box should prefer to do either current song or program name. So let me explain how this would work. Currently we've got a logo here, and then we've got the current on-air the current on-air show, Billy's Bang, is above that. But let's say if we scroll down here, one of the options we have is expand the image for the whole column. Now if I click on that, what will happen is that Myriad 5 Cloud Playout logo will stretch to take the entire right hand column up, but that then won't leave space for the current on-air show. So let's see what happens if I do that. So here you can see now the logo has expanded to cover the entire right column, but that means that on the left hand side here we don't have Billy's Bang, we don't have the show information anymore, and so instead if I scroll up here, the setting we were just talking about, if I change this to be program name, so here we can see we currently have the program name that's on air right this second, and then we have the information about what song is playing as well directly underneath. Whereas if I change that to be current song, you can see the current song is displayed at the top there. So if you want to have a logo or an image that stretches the entire right hand column, but you still want to have both program information and song information on the left hand column, you can do so by selecting either program name in here, or if you're not bothered about the program name, you can just have the song in there as well. Okay, next up we've got the set header logo. This is the logo that appears here and also on the other pages if you aren't using the launch box. That's also that logo there. So this is the logo that will appear at the top left hand of your player bar, on your menu bar, on all the pages on your website. So normally that would be your station logo of some description. The next setting, show album artwork in the header. This only applies when it's in the homepage widget. So it only applies when we aren't on the homepage, but we're on other pages. So I can simulate that by turning off the launch box. So here you can see we can choose whether or not to have the album artwork displayed. And if we turn that off, you can see the information is gone. But because we're favoring program name, that's why it's the show rather than thing. So if I change that to be the current song, you can see it's in there, it's changed to current song, and if I turn the album art back on, it will display the album art for that particular item. This next set of settings specifically refers to the launch box, how it will look and what options will be visible. So we've already seen that the set header logo section allowed you to set the logo that would appear in the top left hand corner of both the launch box and all other pages on your website. But you can also set a different image to appear just on the launch box using the set launch box logo setting. So if I click on that and select a different image, let's take this car here, you can see now that the image is changed to be the car, but that's just on the launch box. If I go to the About page, you can see the standard logo is displayed. So obviously I'm going to change this back to be the logo I want on this website, but you can set a different image just in there if you wish to. You can also choose whether or not to show the images. This specifically applies to the now playing information and also the presenter image on the on-air section for the shows. So if I toggle this off, you'll see that the both the now playing information and the on-air show no longer displays the images that they did a few seconds ago. On this particular launch box, we can see, as well as the now playing information, we also have some more information about some songs that have been played in the last few minutes. So you can see here, now playing is I Got Soul, and All Day All Night played 2 minutes ago, and 5 minutes before that was Snow Patrol. The amount of items that are displayed here, or indeed whether you want to display any items at all, are controlled by this setting here. You can see it says show recently played songs in the launch box. So if I toggle that off, you'll see that there is no longer any information being displayed there on recently played items. And if I do turn it back on again, I can also choose how many items to display. So I could choose to just have the current item and the next item, the previous item, if I wished. We talked earlier about this big logo here, this big image here that is displayed in the launch box, and whether or not it would take up the full right-hand column or not. But if we wanted to change that logo, or indeed not display it at all, we can do so using the Show Large Image setting. So if I toggle this off, you'll see that the image is removed from that section of the launch box. If I put it back on again, you can see it's on there. We can set the image using the Set Image button, and then just like as with all the other things we've seen so far, that just would take you into the image selection, and you can just choose which image to display. But you can also set a URL to go to when someone clicks on that image. So if you hover over there, you can see it's a clickable image on the web page, and it will go to whichever page you choose in here. Finally, this is the setting that we did briefly look at earlier as well, which decides whether or not the image should take up the entire right-hand column or just sit below the show information. So if I tick the expand image to use the whole column, you can see it in this. The way I've got it set up currently now is the image is there. I've got my current on-air presenter and show, and then I've got my now playing information. And the way that's worked is I'm expanding using the full right column for the image, and I'm displaying the program information by default. And in that scenario, the 3 recently played become the currently playing and the 2 most recently played items. So you can, by combining these different features, you can make the launch box look fairly different depending on what you're trying to achieve. Finally, we've got the Advanced Settings button, and if I click on that, that takes us into some more advanced settings in regards to how the system will look, or how the launch box will look. The first one is setting the background image. So you can see I've set this to be the image of the concert, but you can choose other images by clicking on Set Background Image. You can choose an image you already have on the system, or if you want to have a new image that you have, you can either drag it onto there, or you can click on and then browse your computer to find the image as well. I'm going to stick with the image we've got for the moment, so I'm just going to close this window down. Okay, the next bit, the Set Foreground Image, is currently a not supported feature, so we won't be covering it in this video. Finally, we have the How Should the On-Air Information Appear options. These allow you to change the way that the currently playing information and the show information is displayed on top of the launch box. So let's have a look at a few of the options here. Currently, in this particular configuration, I've got the system set to show as individual boxes, which means that each one of the now playing information and also the on-air information is in its own box. If I change that to be show as large box, as you can see, whilst the now playing and show remains in individual boxes, the list of recently played items become into a single box as well now. You can, if you prefer, use text shadow, in which case instead of it being boxes, it just sits on top of the background, and this is very similar to blend into background. In fact, on this image you probably can't see much different, but the difference is with blend into background, what happens with blend into the background is the text just sits there. When you do shadow text, it puts a little shadow on the text. So if you're going onto a white background, for example, or a lighter background, that will work better. You can also choose the colors. You may notice that on this setup, when I had it down as individual boxes, you can see that these boxes are actually dark transparent. And the way we've achieved that is within the color wheel here, I've chosen a dark color, not quite black, and then I've set the transparency to be 60% to give me that transparent look that I wanted. Once you're happy with all these settings for the launch box, you can hit save, and that will save the settings, or you can hit cancel if you wish not to. You can also get back to the main settings from the advanced settings going into there. So I'm just going to hit save my settings on this website, but I want to go back in here because I wanted to just briefly talk about the advertising as well. The broadcast.radio website allows you to have two types of banner ads on your website, a 728 by 90 leaderboard and a 300 by 600 skyscraper. And you can choose which of these, which or both of these to be included in your website. So let's say we wanted to put a skyscraper in. Firstly, it says you need to create an advertising group, and this will be a group of different adverts that will go into. They'll all be 300 by 600, and the system will you can then add adverts to the group, and the system will load something from that group within the thing. So I'm going to just say yes here. So you can see here now that the system has put a skyscraper advert onto my homepage here, and if I go onto a different page, you can see it's included on all the pages. So what will happen is later on we'll see how to add some actual adverts to that skyscraper group, and then it will automatically load something from that advert group. The leaderboard option is virtually the same, only the advert will be a horizontal advert running along the top of your website. Now that we know a lot more about the launch box, let's head on back to our template website to see how we can set up the rest of our website. Let's go ahead and save this and go into a few other settings. In the theme settings, in the option settings where we were able to get to the design options, there's also a plugin section which allows you to add additional plugins to your website. This allows you to incorporate third-party plugins in. Currently, we only offer a couple of options, a weather block and a Google Analytics options, but we anticipate adding more plugins in the future, so it's worth checking this out and seeing what's available whenever you are setting up your station or whenever you are changing or editing the station. In order to make building your radio website as easy as possible, the broadcast.radio web system comes with a series of pre-built pages designed to be useful for radio stations. These allow you to very quickly get a site up and running based on the template and adding in just the pages you want to. You can of course create your own custom pages, and you can choose not to use any of the pre-built pages as well. The way this works is on your website, on your template website, if you go to the settings section and then site layout, drop that down, and then you can see there's enable pages in there. So if I click on enable pages, here we can see the pages that are currently enabled within the Humber Radio website that we're currently building based on the template. So we can see we've got the about page, the schedule page, listen page, presenter page, news page, home, playlist, public file, and contact. So they're basically all the pages that we have available to us on the menu up here and in the footer down here. So all the pages that we are using in the template are enabled here. So if you wanted to add something different, you can click on the add button, and you can see we've got a couple of other pre-built pages available. So we've got a catch-up page and an app home page, which you wouldn't have, but you can also create a custom page as well. We'll come to that in a second. First of all, let's take a look at the actual pages we have already enabled here. So here we can see we've got the about page, the schedule page, and so on. And on the right hand side, we've got edit buttons to edit any of these pages. We've got the preview button, which allows us to do a live preview, and we've got the remove button, which will remove it from our website. Now, in the case of pre-built pages, if you remove them, they go back into the pre-built section and you can bring them in later. If you remove a custom page, then you're removing it from your website altogether. So you need to be careful that you absolutely do want to remove any custom pages that you remove. So let's take a look and let's say we wanted to add in a new custom page. So click on add. I'm going to say create a custom page, and it's going to say what we're going to call it. So we're going to call this one competition. And as you can see, we've created a custom page for competition. But this custom page will be currently totally blank because we haven't added in any content yet. So let's go ahead and see if we can add a little bit of content into this page. To edit the page, click on the edit button. Okay, you can see we've got a heading that's automatically been added in, and we have this is the edit screen for the page, and we have a series of blocks. The way that the BR web editor works is you have a series of blocks, and each of those blocks has some content that you can put into it. So let's say on this competition page, we just want to keep things really simple. The first thing we want to have is a slug of text saying something about entering a competition. Let's say we want to put a picture, and we also want to put a quote from somebody who won a competition previously. So let's take a look at exactly how we would go about doing that. First thing we need to do is choose a block type. So I'm going to click on the plus here to add a new block. And you can see you get different types of block in here. And there are actually more than is visible here. So I can look for different things. So if I wanted to do, say, a video, I could type in video here, and we can see I could simply put in a video, or we could put in a YouTube or Vimeo or anything we want to. But let's say we want to start off very simply and just put a paragraph in. So put in a paragraph. Here's the paragraph I want to put in. So I'm just going to put a little bit of text in here. Now we've added our first block of content. We can see we have a few options available to us. So we can highlight sections in here, and we can choose to change them in terms of their font size. We can also add drop caps, or we can change individual colors for text as well if we wish to. So you have paragraph options down the side here. You can also add in hyperlinks and other types of things. You can use the right menu here to copy, duplicate, move, edit, or remove a block. And you can also change a block type. So if I wanted this to be a heading block or a quote block or a list block instead of a normal paragraph block, I could do that as well. I can also move the block up and down the page using here. So if I've got multiple blocks and I want to shuffle the order of them, I can do so. Finally, I can also change the alignment from left, right, or middle. Okay, so let's say I want to add in a second paragraph here. I'm just going to hit enter and create a new block. So we have lots of exciting things to give away. Okay, next thing I want to do is add a picture. So I'm going to add a new block. And this time I want to be an image. Now it may be that we have an image available, or we might want to upload one, or we might even want to link to one that exists. Let's see if we have something that we can upload. So let's click on upload, and that will open up our browser. So let's have a look on our desktop here and see if we've got a suitable image on there. So let's use this one here. So we can see we've uploaded the image. We can also change just like we could change the paragraph settings, we can actually change some of the image settings as well. So I'm going to make it a rounded image. I'm going to add a caption and put in something like latest event would be more useful. And I can also do things like crop it. Or put some text over the image. So I could do that. That would be quite cool. Just change that to latest event. So rather than the caption being underneath, it's now in over the actual thing itself. Okay, so that's now added in our image. The final thing we said we wanted to include in here was a quote from someone. So I'm going to add my final block and say, okay, well, I want this one to be a quote. So I'm just going to do a search for a quote block. There it is. And I add in my quote, and I'm going to say, I won a car. And the person who won a car was named Mary. We'll also make this a large quote as well, just because we can. Finally, I've decided we might as well add in something a little bit more exciting. So let's now add in a column. So we can add in columns. So if I put in a column, you can choose how many columns you want. So I'm going to put a 50-50 split column. And now I can add in an individual, some individual stuff. So I'm going to add a new block into this column, which is a paragraph. So I'm going to say, here is a list of competitions. And then I'm going to add a new block underneath that, which is going to be a list. And this is effectively like a bullet point list. So I put, I don't know, sound of the week, guess the smell, difficult on radio, what's my job? Okay, as you can tell, I'm not particularly good at the creative side of that, but that doesn't really matter. And again, what we're going to do is then we can just put an image into here, and I'm going to use something from the library this time and put one of the presenters onto here. So I'm just going to choose this image here and put that in there. So now I've got my page consists of some text, a cover image with some text over the top, a quote, two columns with a slug of text and a list. And I could carry on building my page as is required. The best thing to do with these really is to just have a little mess around with what you want to do with them, and just see, to have an idea in your mind about what you want the page to look like, and then use the tools there to try and build the page as best you can. So what we're going to do now is hit publish. I'll finish with this page here. That's now published it. So if I go back to my settings and back into my enabled pages, you can see that my competition is in there. And if I click on the show live preview, we can now see what our competition page looks like. So here we can see we've got the header, we've got the 2 lines of text, the cover, the quote, and our list that we created along with our DJ image. Not the best page in the world, but it shows you how easy it is to just sort of put together a simple page. However, of course, at this moment in time, there is no way for anyone to see that page other than typing in the direct address for that page. So if I wanted to add this to the menu, then that would be the next thing I would need to do. And in order to do that, I need to go to the menu builder. So here you can see the menu builders on the site layout just underneath enabled pages, and here are the stuff that's in our menu. So this is what appears in the menu along the top. So if I go on to here, this is this section here on our actual live website. So if I wanted to add my competition page I've just created onto here, just click on add, and then you can say, okay, I want to add the competition on there. I can see it's added in. I might want to change the order as well, so I may decide I want to put the competition in the middle there, next to between news and contacts, and that's it. That's all I need to do in there. So if I go back onto my live page now and refresh that, as you can see, the competition has now been added to the menu system. And if we click on it, it will take us to the page that we created a few moments ago. You can also see that it's been added to the general menu system as well. So that page is now accessible via our website. Okay, let's take a closer look at one of the more complex pages that we have pre-built. Let's have a look at the home page and see how we manage that. So before we look at the edited page, let's take a quick look at the home page again. So we can see we've got a nice heading and some menu. Then we've got a currently on-air system. We've got some news. We've got a Meet the Team section, and we've got a cover image, some lists. So let's have a look at how we actually did that by going onto the page, the Enabled Pages section, and then clicking on the Edit button for the home page. So here you can see the homepage setting, or the edited page for the homepage, and you can see we've got the different blocks here. So here we can see this one is a first of all, there's a column block here, which is allowing us to have this grid on the right hand side and our text on the left hand side. And our text consists of a header block, a text block with some English on, and then we added in some Lorem Ipsum text here just to flush it out. On the right hand side we have what we call an on-air grid. Now there are several different types of grids available within the broadcast.radio web interface, and they basically allow you to display more complex things like on-air systems, presenters, news, that type of thing. So instead of having to work out how to put the latest headlines, for example, on, we have a list created called news, and then we've put a news poster, or we put a grid in here which is using news, and the way that works is we've given it a title of news. We've told it it should be a post page, and we've said the category should be from the news section, and we've also said how many items as a maximum we should do. Directly below that we have another post grid, and it's exactly the same thing. We've put a text block in here, heading 3 text blocks, say Meet the Team, and in this case we've given a header text of presenter, and we've chosen the presenters from the type here, and again we don't have any categories set up for there, so we don't need to do that, but we've got the maximum amount as 4 again. By using these grids, so for example this one, the on-air grid up here, we're currently by putting this here, we're basically telling it to use the current on-air. I'm telling it to only show one thing, so it will show me the currently on-air information. If I change that to 2, it will show me who's currently on air now, and also the next show to be on air. In fact, I'll just show you what that looks like. Let's click on here, just refresh this page. And there you can see now this grid has got the current show, and also today at 10 p.m. default nights is going to be on as well. So by using the grids, you can create some fairly powerful things on your website that don't take a whole lot of work. Then we've got the cover image here. Again, so if I click on there, we can see we've just put an image on there and then put a slug of text. You can change the colors and maximum height, things like that. And then I've just got some text blocks here to finish off the page. So we can see that this page is pretty straightforward to do. We can just change the text, add in different things, and the net result is something that looks a bit like this. Just refresh this to remove that, so you can see we've got our news and our presenters, and so obviously you can build this out to be whatever you want it to be for your radio station. Okay, let's try adding a few more advanced features to our homepage to show you some of the other elements that you may wish to add. I'm also going to show you an alternative way of editing that homepage as well. You can go to the content section on the left-hand menu and choose pages, and this will also give you a list of all the pages, and it makes it easy for you to select a page to edit. So I'm going to edit the homepage by clicking on the homepage now. Okay, the home page is loaded again in the edit view we were looking at a few moments ago. And we can see at the moment our home page finished here. So let's assume we want to add a few other elements into the home page. I'm just going to run through a few options. There are a large amount of potential options that you could add in, and we certainly won't be going through all of them, but we'll just go through some of the key ones just to show you how they work and what options you have on them. So let's start with the top of the paragraph. It's nice and simple, and a paragraph is just a block of text. So add in a paragraph block, type in your text, and on the right hand side here you can see you've got some options for setting font size, for setting background and text color. You can also do have a text drop cap, which is the first letter of the paragraph is larger. And under the advanced section, you can add in anchor HTML, which is used to jump to a place on a page. And for those people who understand such things, there's also, you can add in CSS classes, but we certainly won't be covering that in this video. So as you can see, there's a few options on there for a paragraph. Now let's add another block. This time we're going to add an image block. So I'm going to click on image here, and here you can see here's an image block, and you've got three options here. You can either choose to upload an image, you can browse the existing images on your media library, or you can insert a URL to an image that's somewhere else on the internet. So the simplest one is you click on upload, and you can then simply browse to the image you want to upload and pop it on there by highlighting and hitting open. Alternatively, you can click on the media library, and this will show you all the images currently inside your website. So you can see here, we can see these are all the images we're using elsewhere, and we could of course pick one of these fairly simply. But the other thing we can do here is we can actually upload something from here. So if we think there's an image in our library and then discover it isn't there, you can just simply either drag the image onto here or click on here to upload it. Another really useful feature is you can actually do a search up here. So if I was to say I wanted to put an image of a concert on here, so I might type concert in, and you can see I've got nothing in my media library about concerts. But if I click on the search online, this will then do the same search on a website called Pexel, which is a free image search engine, and everything on here is royalty free, so you're able to use any of the images on here on your website without any problems with copywriting. So I'm just going to highlight that. You can see it's added that image in. I could add a caption if I wanted to. And you can see we've got a few details over here. We can choose whether it's either a rounded image or a default image. We can put some alt text. We can choose the image size with large, medium, thumbnail. And we can also specifically set the dimensions. So we've got a few images, things that we can do in there as well. We can also set the title attribute on here as well, which is useful for SEO and also for accessibility. Okay. So that's the image. Closely related to that is the cover. So let's do a search for cover. And cover is very similar in terms of it's basically a different way of displaying an image. But this time, let's add another image in here, and I'm going to do cars. This time, do a little online search and see if I can find something suitable. There we go. That'll do. First one is fine. So here you can see the card. Now there's a couple of things that are different about the cover image compared to the standard image. A cover image is always going to be the full width of the website window. A cover image typically has some text over the top, and there's also an overlay color on top of that as well. So you can see the original image that we put in was actually brighter than this, but there was a semi-transparent black overlay on top of this. So I can write some text in here, and we can see that's how it would look. But the interesting thing about cover images, you can then add additional blocks in here. So you could, for example, put a button underneath here and have it so put some more details on here. We might as well have a look at the button element while we're here. As you can see, here's my button element. I can choose, I can then send the link to it here, so I can send it to a particular website. So as I say, I was going back to the Broadcast Radio website with this one. Okay, and open a new tab, so yes please. Okay, so we can see I've got that text in there. I can also choose whether to make it filled in or outline using the options on the right hand side here. And I can choose the size and the colors and stuff. So I'm going to make sure the text color is white. I also want to make it center aligned. Now if I highlight just the button, I'm going to get the menu bar for the button. Whereas what I really need to do is click away from that and click onto the actual row that the button is on, because then I can set the contents of that row to be either full width or not, and also how to justify it. So if I want that to be centered, I need to select the row rather than the button itself. So as you can see, inside a cover image you can actually add in other elements, so it becomes a very powerful tool for being able to set have something graphically on screen that looks very cool. You can also choose the minimum height inside of the cover here. You can choose the level of transparency for the overlay and the color for the overlay. So if I wanted that to be blue tinged, I certainly could do that. Go back to black because that looks much cooler. So let's take a quick look at exactly how this is actually going to look. So let's click on our preview button. So you can see the top half of our homepage is pretty much as we had it previously. But here you can see, here's my bit of text, here's my concert image, and here is my cover image. So you can see how the difference is between a cover image and a standard image. But it all looks a bit clustered together. So what about if we put some spaces in? That's another useful element to use. You can click on the plus, type in spacer, and you can see it's there, and they can see the spacer. If we click on it, it just tells you how many pixels to make the spacer, so 100 pixels at the moment. But the thing about this is it's currently in the wrong place, of course, because I don't need it here. I want it between these two images here. So you can highlight the row, and you can just click on the up button to just move it up to the next section. Let's take a look at how it looks like in a preview. Here you can see is the image, and we've got a space between that and our cover now. So you can use spaces to spread out your website and make it look more clean by putting lots of nice space between the different elements you're adding. Okay, what else can we add? If we click on the plus, we've got things like a heading, which is very similar to a text item. However, you can see that it's heading, and you can choose what type of heading it should be using the option on the menu bar. You can also on this menu bar instantly you can do things like the formatting, but you can also often change what the element is to something similar. So you can see we're on a heading one here, but if I wanted to change this to be a list or a quote or something like that, then I could do that, and that would allow me to convert from one thing to another. So if I wanted to change this to a paragraph, just change it to a paragraph and it's done. There's also a little menu on the right hand side here which is worth considering, which allows you to copy or duplicate, also move, and you can also edit the HTML and remove a block. Now the one you're most likely to use here is remove block. Click on that, you can see the block has been removed from the page. Okay, so we've had a look at images. Galleries are just like a collection of images. List is like a bullet point list, and quotes allow you to put in, there's just like a pre-formatted paragraph really, where it just allows you to easily add quotes. You can also add in custom HTML. This allows you to take any third-party HTML you have. Let's say you've got a particular widget or some other feature you want to include, that can be added in there. So if I put an HTML block in, you can see you can then paste in the HTML into here, and you can also preview it if you need to. So it allows you to just add in additional code to add features that aren't included natively within the platform. What else we got? Okay, columns is quite an important one. Typically, the way that the website works is it's a series of rows. So you can see here as we're going along here, there's one row, then that's a row, and that's a row, and that's how the page is built. But up here you can see actually we've got 2 columns within a single row. So if I go to the top here, we can see the somehow I can select it all. There we go. So you can see there's the different columns inside there. And the way we've done that is if I go down to the bottom here and add a new column, we click on the column section, you can choose which type of column. So let's say we wanted to have 3 even columns. Or we can click on the 33, 33, 33 column stack, and here you can see now we've got our columns in there, and then we can choose what to put in there. So in the first one here we might put in an image. So let's pick something from we have existing, and then the next one we might want to put a list in here, and then it's in here. Just type in your list, and then on the right hand side here we might want to put something different. So we could put something else like anything we wanted to from in here. So let's just put in a slug. Let's put a button in. Let's put a button in, and as we saw earlier, you can then format the button to do whatever you want to. So columns provide you a way of formatting the page a little bit into different sections horizontally, so that you can put the information in that you wish to. Right, we've also talked about grids several times, so let's have a look at how we might add a new grid. Let's say, for example, we had we wanted to add a blog grid to our homepage. Now, a blog grid, there is a special pre-built blog post grid, but all the grids are really the same. They're just choosing from a particular category or type of post. And in the blog post grid case, it's only able to pick stuff that is actually marked as a blog. So here you can see I can put my title in. There's not a lot of options on a blog post grid, but basically your title and how many items to display. So you can see we've got 4 in there. So what would happen with this is as we add in new blog posts, those will actually be displayed in this blog post grid. So we can have we could either do this on a custom page which is just for our blog posts, or we may choose to have this grid on our homepage. Okay, so we're getting towards some of the lesser used stuff now. So you've got things like media and text. It's quite a handy thing. It allows you to put in an image and then a bunch of content, text content on the right hand side. And you can see here you've got a couple of different orientations for it, so you can switch it left to right or up or down. So you can basically change the way it looks. So if you preferred it that way around, you can have. So let's see this in action. So let's put in this picture here, and then we just put in the title here, and you can of course then add other elements underneath. So let's add a bit of paragraph into here as well. There we go. So now we've got a little element for Meet Jerry. So if I click on preview again, you'll be able to see those elements in place. You can see there's our columns, and there's our media and text element as well. Now, some of the other ones, like if you scroll down here, there's quite a lot for embedding specific content from specific partners or providers, and all of them have their own settings in terms of what information you need to put in. Most of them you probably won't need to use. Things like YouTube is pretty handy. You can embed videos into here. We've already looked at the on-air guide earlier and the advanced post grid. We have a few specific ones like featured content, which is generally used for sort of what's on guides, playlists, which you can automatically generate playlists in the system. If you can either manually build them, and I'll show you how to do that in a second, or you can actually have them automatically imported from Myriad 5. So if you're running the latest versions of Myriad 5 and you have Anywhere Pro, you can actually import categories as playlists, and they'll be automatically updated. So as you add things to your A list in Myriad, your website will automatically update to reflect that. A Mixcloud grid is exactly what it sounds like. It shows the most recent posts that you've done to Mixcloud, and this is very often used for listen again type content. And then the schedule grid is used for placing the schedule on any particular page. So if we were to look at the schedule page, we would see a schedule grid on there. Contact form, which is used for messaging in. So when you put in a contact form, you just type in the email address that you want it to go to. So if you send it to me, then if we preview this page now, you can see there's a very simple contact form at the bottom where someone can type their name in, type a message in, hit send, and that will then be emailed to me, or sent to my email address rather. So let's give you a quick whistle-stop tour of some of the elements. My advice is to actually just go through and have a play with them, because there's way too many to really go through in a video. But there's quite a lot of options, and you can really start to make the homepage or any other pages your own by combining these in interesting ways. I've taken a few minutes to just fill in some details and take out a few things we didn't want in the homepage here and add in a couple of extra things. So let's take a look. Here we've just added a picture to the main intro text and actually put some text in. I've left the on-air grid as it was, but I've also then created 2 columns here, and I've put the latest news and the Meet the Team both into there. So then instead of having them individually as in the original template, I've got them side by side. I've got a little slug of text here asking people to get involved, and a button that would take them off to a separate custom page where they can fill in their details and send it off. A little bit of information inviting people to email their events into the studio to be included in the on-air guide. I changed our cover photo to be something more useful, inviting people to advertise for the station, and I just added in a studio gallery, which I don't have any pictures of studios for, but as you can see here, you can just basically go in here and you can add more pictures from your library or from anywhere else. So if I add in a cup of coffee, you can see there the gallery automatically kind of tunes itself to the amount of images you have available. So let's take a look at what this final website looks like. Let's click on the preview button, and as you can see here, we've got our smaller image of the presenter currently on air. Here's our latest news and Meet the Team. Get involved, contact, our cover, and our gallery. And that's how you can customize the homepage. It looks quite a bit different now to the template, but of course you can make it absolutely 100% different to the template depending on what you want your homepage to look like and what content you want to include in your homepage. So we're going to look at a couple of other options that you can do, but hopefully this section of the video has given you enough information to be able to actually edit any page on your website and add the content that you wish. In order to keep these videos in a manageable size, we've decided to split them into multiple parts. This is the end of part 1. In part 2, we'll be looking at many of the other elements included in the template website, including news, schedules, presenters, shows, etc. So head on over to YouTube and start part 2 right now.